On today's episode of Lowbrow Inc., we introduce the world to Carkass. But first, we're going to start off with a sculpture done by yours truly right here in-house. We're going to do a jack-o'-lantern sculpture, and we're going to start off with our drawing on a piece of EPS foam. Check it out. There's our beautiful drawing. Here's our beautiful foam. Let's go ahead and get started with this beautiful piece. And by the way, I think we're missing one thing. Let's kick up some cutting music to start this thing off with the right action. All right, that's fucking way better. Check this out. Now, first thing I'm doing is I'm just trying to cut out the basic shape of whatever I'm about to sculpt. And what you want to do is you want to get rid of all the excess. And I bring in my power laser eradicator. That's right, I make my own tools, and this one is the number one tool for sculpting with EPS foam. I built it out of a toaster and a microwave oven. Kids, do not try this at home. So we got the basic shape down, and now what we're going to do is continue sculpting out the lower levels. So there's many levels to your sculpture, and you want to make sure that you get all your levels taken care of first. That way you have a clean cut. Almost makes it like a stamp. A rubber stamp, if you will. Cut out all that extra EPS and get all that stuff out of the way. And then we'll go ahead and move forward with the next cut. That's right. Gonna shape him up right. Mr. Jack-o'-lantern coming to life before your very eyes. This is so much fun. I really love using this stuff. This has been my thing since I was a kid. First time I ever saw styrofoam cut like this was my father and I were at a hobby store getting ready to build our train set. And I saw a gentleman building mountains out of styrofoam, and I was amazed. That was a long time ago. Now we grab our magical laser eradicator tool and take care of this. Stay tuned, there's going to be more. You're very popular.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Mike. Hey everybody, my name is Carkass. I'm a tattoo artist. I work at Lowbrow Inc. I'm here since 4 years ago, working with the crew right here with Mr. Greeley, right here at Lowbrow Inc. I've been tattooing over 15 years professionally. Before, with no clue, I was doing the same. I've been drawing all my life. I've been practicing painting, sculptors, everything, sculpting. Before I was working with John Sanchez worldwide, Mr. John Steel Carrot Sanchez, Cabezon. And before that, I was working in LA, Main Street Tattoos. My specialty, well, I can say I like to do traditional, new traditional. I like to do the Japanese. I like to do like the pre-Hispanic, not Chicano art, mostly pre-Hispanic. I'm doing Aztec. All that is related with pre-Hispanic. It doesn't necessarily has to be Aztec. Everybody thinks that Aztec is just the Mexican culture, but which is not. You know, we have Olmecs, we have the Mayans, we have all different cultures in all Latin America. So we have Guatemala, we have South America, we have even right here in North America, all the Yaquis, Navajos, you know, everything is part of the same structure and culture, you know. So I like to do that. I like to being creative with all the mixing in the cultures and the beliefs, you know, like the goddess and all the different civilizations. I like to do that. Spanish civilization. The portrait, it's first of all, it's something that is really meaningful for my customer, for my client. His dad passed, and unfortunately, he couldn't be there when that moment happened. So for me, it's important to understand what he needs and be transmitted on the tattoo, on the portrait. I'm not a specialist on the portrait, but I like to do it because I enjoy, especially the transition to put something on the skin that is really meaningful for this person. So that's what I like to do. I admire artists that they do like crazy, unbelievable portraits. I'm not on that part of the level because I'm not a portrait guy, but I like to do portraits.
Whoa, there's Frank clocking in. Let's get back to the grind. I love using this EPS foam laser eradicator. Like I said, the first time I'd ever seen one was in a hobby shop with my father, looking at trains, looking at choo-choo trains. We were going to build a train set. Actually, we did build a train set. We never got around to carving those mountains that the train goes through. I think I'm going to go ahead and try and do that with my little buddies someday. But right now, we're going to grab a hold of the devil's toothbrush and start eradicating the sides. What you do is you want to take down the sides and basically move all that EPS out of the way and make it your shape. You know, turn it into your victim. Go ahead and scrape away what you can. I know it'll look bad at the beginning, but we're going to sand it down later. So we just kind of grab shape and make form and just get that thing. Oh, you know what we like to do too is we grab that laser eradicator and get our depth gauge down. We can always change the depth with our laser cutting tool. It's a hot wire tool. I invented it. Well, I didn't invent it, but I did build it myself. Like I said, kids, don't try this at home. But you can with parents' supervision. Anyway, we grab that devil's toothbrush, and again, we're rounding out all the edges to kind of give it more of a pumpkin feel, Get rid of that chin. It's not Jay Leno the pumpkin, it's my pumpkin. We want to go ahead and get that depth gauge in and put down some more of that shape and get rid of a lot of the outer part. And this is where your drawing starts to disappear, so you kind of just got to freestyle it from there. Always sand it down when you're done and it'll smooth it right out. More with the devil's toothbrush and more with the sanding block. Pretty soon you come out with something pretty smooth and nifty. A lot of fun to do, a lot of fun to eradicate that foam with that wire brush. Just push it down into where it's supposed to be, and then once you sand it off at the end, it really starts to take form and smooths out. Here's another angle of that. Taking down the cheeks. There's Frank. Frank's in the house. Don't forget Frank. God bless him.
As a tattoo artist, I have a few, you know, like for example, one of my biggest influences always is Paul Booth. And the traditional, of course, there is many, I'm talking about like Japanese, Horiyoshi, Horitaka, Horitama, you know, my good friend Yuichi Takei, you know, he's one of my influences too. Local artists, same thing that I'm being influenced, that I like to follow how they do the Japanese, like Chris Brandt and SP, you know. A good friend of mine that he teach me a lot, I can say a lot, on the understanding the Japanese is Brad Mariachi. Good friend of mine, you know, grateful to be part of that crew for a while in Por Vida Tattoo in Oakland. Is when I start develop more that techniques and understand, because they guide more into the tattooing industry, you know. All the different medias that we're using, you know, like mixing colors and needles, all the fundamentals for one piece. I was born in East LA back in 1979, and then I moved to Mexico when I was 8 months old. So I was raised in Mexico, so that's why I understand a lot of the culture. That's why my accent, proud of my accent, Spanish, like always, I'm proud. Viva Mexico, cabrón.
Boom! There we are, we're back. All right, what you got to do is you got to make sure you take your Sharpie and draw back on your design once you've taken away a lot of the EPS foam. That way you can always remember where you're going through your hills and valleys. Now, this has always been the funnest part of using this kind of thing for me, is it takes me back to Halloween when I was carving jack-o'-lanterns. This is always fun. You got to get in there and sharpen those teeth for that jack-o'-lantern and get right down into the nitty-gritty of that. And what I like to do is just get deep and get detailed. That way, you know what? You just are doing all the work before you really got to lay your hands on it with this tool. Let's take a look at it. Let's take a good look at what we got here. I'm going to go walk away and clean it off, then I'm going to come back and show you. Look at this guy. So rad. It's getting there. I'm going to get in there and just cut through and sharpen up, file down all these edges, these rough edges, and make sure it looks clean before the next step. You always want to get through and cut through to the other side. That way it looks like a jack-o'-lantern. Be sure to check us out next episode or the next session with the jack-o'-lantern, and stay true. Give us a like and subscribe over here at Lowbrow Inc. Dig it. This episode of Lowbrow Inc. is brought to you by Random Randy Dragon and Buck Vitamin's Freedom Supply. Also brought to you by Frank Ragoni, FrankRag1 on the Instagram. Check him out.
I find out because fucking Sanchez, good friend of Greeley, back in, I would say 2012. I found out Lowbrow Inc. because the tattoo convention back in 2012 to be part of the art show, the skateboard art show. Pretty cool. I remember that. Meet a lot of good friends, a lot of good artists, a lot of good talent. It was super cool. Yeah. Well, I love what I do. I never satisfies 100%. I always try to look for more and more and more things to do. Try to improvise and push myself, you know, and keep doing the same, you know, like pushing and steps, you know, like building steps to climb it and be up. Keep my level, be humble, you know, and interact with my customers, with my friends, with my clients, with my family, with everybody. Here, we're family. This is a family. It's not just coming to work. This is not work. This is not a job. This is a passion. This is something that I love to do and grateful to do it. Y que viva Lowbrow Inc.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Good. ¿Está bien?
Yeah, muy bien.
Muy bien.
Muy bien.